Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse playoff analysis video for Game 5. That's right, Game 5. We're looking at Game 5 right here. The Knicks took control of the series by going up 3-1. In Game 4, they went up to Boston, and, everything went wrong. Everything went wrong in that game, especially in that third quarter. But it started earlier. We're going to look at that. We're going to break it down, and we're going to see what the Knicks need to do to fix this and shut it down tomorrow night to take care of business and finally advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, and drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks or anything about this series or anything at all. I appreciate all of your input. All right, let's get going here. So there's several things that happen in this game. For one, let's recap the series where we are right now. In Game 1, the Knicks pull off a tremendous upset, 20-point comeback, 108-105, and then they do it again. This time, they waited even longer to make their comeback, and they pulled off a nail-biter 91-90. Then they come back home for the first game at home in this series against the Celtics, and they completely laid an egg. They came out with a lack of urgency, and they were, quote, Jalen Brunson subconsciously satisfied, so that the hunger wasn't there for them. But then when they dropped that game, they were down only 2-1. They were up 2-1, and if they didn't take care of business in Game 4, this could be going back to Boston tied up. But in Game 4, the Knicks played one of their best games they have played the entire playoffs. They took care of business. They were already up by 12 before Tatum suffered his injury. So at that point, you're thinking up 3-1. Tatum is gone for the year. You think Knicks have this wrapped up in Game 5. Well, guess what? The Celtics are the current champions for a reason. They have tremendous pride. They've been playing together for several years. They know how to fill in for each other when it's necessary, and they've had a 9-2 record without Tatum before last night's game. So now they're 10-2 this season without Tatum. So these guys weren't going to roll over, but several things went right in that game that probably will not be able to be replicated again. It may, if they played an 11-game series, maybe Game 9 or something, or Game 8 turns into that. But I think things will revert to the norm in Game 6. But then again, you got to play. You got to play the game. So let's keep going here. We're going to talk about a few bright spots here, and he basically ties into the major question right now facing the Knicks, which is what to do about their starting lineup. Right now, their starting lineup is getting destroyed. In the 107 minutes that they've played together, they have a minus 16.3 net rating. That's right. And they're being outscored by 36 points. But when Mitch Robinson is on the court, the Knicks have outscored Boston by 26. That is a 62-point swing. That is not anything to scoff at. In fact, let's go to here, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll come back to this stuff, but let me show you this. All right. Oh, not that yet. Here, show you this. So, the Knicks, this is against Boston. This is just against Boston up here in the playoffs this year. They played 5 games. They're a total of a minus 35 right now. Because they have won games within 5 points or less, 3 points or less, like maybe 1, 2 points. The Game 1 was won by 3. Game 2 was won by 1. Game 4, they had a nice, 12-point lead or 8-point game, I think. But the losses have been huge. So that's why the numbers are offset like this and skewed like this. And when you look at this here, Mitch is a plus 26. So there you go. There's the proof right there. And then you look at the lineups. This is the Knicks lineups just only against Boston here in the semifinals. They have played 107 minutes, by far the most of any lineup in the playoffs for any team. And they are a minus 36. Oops, right here, minus 36. You can see it right there, minus 36 all the way to the right. But then when you add Mitch, see here's Mitch Robinson, plus 8. Mitch Robinson, plus 9. Different configurations of the lineup. Mitch Robinson again, plus 13. Mitch Robinson again, plus 2. So, is the answer starting Mitch? Is that going to be the answer? Is it sitting Hart or Bridges and starting Mitch? Because you can't sit OG. We desperately need OG. I think the answer might be to start Mitch over Josh Hart. And you don't really lose much. Remember, you can easily bring him in. That's one thing that Thibs needs to focus on. And the data is there. I mean, this starting unit is just not doing the job. You have to figure out another way. Or if you want to stick with those starters, if you want to stick with them, don't stick with them that long from the beginning. You know, don't wait till 8-9 minutes have ticked by in that first half and you're already down 10. You know, don't wait till that. Come out with a better rotation plan where you kind of mix guys in a little more, keep them fresher. Also, you avoid foul trouble that way as well. But let's get back to this. But the positives here, I mean, Mitch was just outstanding in Game 5. He had all 6 of his free throws. 13 rebounds was a game high. 6 offensive rebounds, a game high. 2 steals and a block. But I will say, there were times, I watched the game again this morning today. There were times where he was helping off his guy too much. And then his guy ended up with the ball, like Al Horford ended up with the ball for a 3. Cornette got in for a dunk, slipped in for a dunk behind Mitch at least once, maybe twice. Derek White, you know, I mean, guys, he wasn't close. He wasn't close enough because he was trying to help out. So that's one thing that has to be cleaned up here. But that is very, very small issues that I have with Mitch in general compared to the rest of the team. And when you look at his offensive rebounding in this postseason, he is second best right now behind Aaron Gordon. Just one less offensive rebound than Aaron Gordon so far. Aaron has 44, Mitch has 43, and Gobert 32. And Isaiah Hartenstein, remember him? He's got 30. The only players with 30-plus offensive rebounds in the postseason so far. So Mitch has been a beast. And remember, Mitch plays much less minutes than all of these guys. So in terms of actual offensive rebounding percentage, I'm sure he is way up there right now. I don't know what it is at the moment. All right. And then this also happened. Another anomaly. Luke Cornette had 7 blocks last night. It seemed like the Knicks were not prepared for this 7-footer because a lot of times he came from behind too, or right. Guys drove right into him. OG got blocked. He blocked everybody. OG, Towns, McHale, Hart. He blocked them all. He may even have blocked Jalen Brunson. I don't think so. But he definitely had the game of his life here. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocks, and he hit all of his buckets. Shout out to him. Good for him. But he's not going to repeat that on Friday. The likelihood of that is so remote. But shout out to him. That was one of the other key aspects that they put together to destroy the Knicks, pretty much. The other thing that they did was they got a tremendous game from Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, before this game, was averaging only 22% from the 3-point line, and he shot 60% from the 3-point line in this game. That is pretty impressive. 60%. He was 3 out of 5. He shot 53% overall in this game. He was shooting 37% for the series. So is Jaylen Brown, has he like broken through and now he's figured something out? Or was it the fact that it was win or go home? Was it the heart of a champion playing at home, trying to rise above the way he had been playing to deliver a victory for his team and his teammates? I think it's more of that. So I have a feeling he will also drift back to the guy who was struggling for most of this postseason, and especially in the series against the Knicks. But let's keep going here. So this interesting, Frank Barrett tweeted this out. Just a reminder that the Knicks, a team up 3-2 in the second round, have had one single lineup play 47.3% of its total postseason possessions, minutes. postseason minutes. They played the majority of the minutes. 252 out of 533 minutes that starting lineup has played. So about half the game. And that lineup is a minus 7.3 in 100 possessions. That's the whole postseason. That's including the Detroit series. It's even worse when you look at what's happening with the Celtics. Against the Celtics, the Knicks are the starters are a minus 16.3. So that's ballooned by 9 in the wrong way. They're winning in spite of the lineup they're all in on. Completely unprecedented, honestly, he says. And below, this was a retweet of this video of an interview with Thibs post game. Tom Thibodeau was asked about sticking with his starters in the third quarter as the Celtics went on a big run. Just searching. But the issues were not really just in the third quarter. The issues began much earlier. The issues for the Knicks began in the second quarter, and it began with foul trouble, and it began with just utterly shocking, just ridiculous play. Just such bad basketball. Such, I mean, honestly, I feel like these guys were just cooked. They were just tired. Maybe the trip up to Boston. Who knows what happened? But they did not seem ready, even though they had their highest scoring first quarter of the series. They scored 32 points. They were leading 32-30. But for them to put up 32 points and to just have a 2-point lead at the end of that first quarter, that was a harbinger of concern. Harbinger of concern for me. I was hoping that they were going to come out in that second quarter and really deliver a punishing blow and then just cruise to victory. Did not happen, but we got teased a little. The Knicks even built a 9-point lead in that second quarter. And we're going to look at that second quarter. I got some highlights for you guys to show you specific plays. We're going to get into that. And this is a great lead-in for that. Sleeper Knicks. You guys should definitely look at his tweet that he put out, his thread. Some great points. They are not concerned about the Knicks pulling out a win in Game 6, which is great. And here he says, despite the score being knotted 59-all at halftime, what if I told you the Celtics' run in the third wasn't even what won them the game? This is what I was talking about. At the 9:08 mark in the second quarter, Deuce McBride hit a pull-up 3 to give the Knicks a 40-32 lead. And then they swapped baskets here and there, and then the Knicks, I think it was Josh Hart, hit a 3, so then it became a 9-point lead. From that point on, everything went south from there, as you can see it right there. It was brutal. From there, the Knicks were outscored 95-62 for the rest of the game after that Deuce bucket. 95-62. That was a beatdown. So it wasn't just the third quarter. Even though they finished tied 59-all at the half, and the Knicks had, if you just look at the first half, you're like, okay, that's a pretty decent first half. They had been down by like double digits at the half in every single game against the Celtics so far in this series, I believe. Maybe one game it was like 8 points or something. But they were losing. They had never been tied or had a lead at the half. So this was the first time. So you're like, okay, maybe they'll come out. They had a brilliant third quarter in Game 4. And you think, okay, maybe that's what it is. They were just kind of like, sleepwalking a little bit, saving their energy. And then in that third quarter, they were going to lay down a hammer. Went the other way. Totally went the other way. And here, so this is the play-by-play. You can see, this is what happened. Towns picks up his second foul. And it was a ridiculous one. And I have the video. Then at 9:49, then Deuce hits a bucket at 9:08. And Josh Hart enters the game for Karl-Anthony Towns after he commits that foul. So he had to leave the game. That's another thing. So the Knicks were going to be without Towns for about almost 10 minutes of gameplay in that second quarter. It's crucial. And that is also why Mitch ended up playing all 12 minutes of the second quarter. Which also may explain why Thibs waited so long to bring Mitch back in the third quarter. He waited until the 3-minute and 17-second mark to sub Deuce and Mitch back in. The first substitutions in the third quarter. By then, the game was kind of out of hand. I think he waited because maybe, I don't know, the minutes issues or something. I mean, Mitch had just played 12 minutes straight, and you can see at times he did look a little bit fatigued here and there. It was going to happen. Then at the 8:40 mark, Josh Hart makes the two-pointer. Oh, that's what it was. So then it was 42-33, and the Knicks were up 9. 8:40 mark. From that point on, some of the most ridiculous play, just people are calling it unserious. Shaq's NBA, he posted this, one of the most unserious sequences you will see. All right, let's get to it then. Here we go. No, not this. Oh, wait. Before we get to that sequence, I'm going to show you this. This is what I'm going to show you here. Before we get to that sequence. So this is early on. Remember, the Knicks were up 32-30. Oh, no, this is the third quarter. Here we go. Let me go back to here. Here we go. All right, so the Knicks were up 32-30. I think Brunson got a foul, and then he hit one of two or whatever. So now they're up 33-30. And here we go. All right, here we go. So foul right there. Cat, ridiculous foul. And then look at this foul. He just grabs Derek White. I mean, within a minute and a half, he committed his third foul, and now he has to leave the game. Ridiculous. All right, we're going to come back to this because this is the third quarter. What I want to show you now is the second quarter. And this is the video that Shaq's posted. This sequence here. So now they're up 7. Look at this ridiculous attempt. Just chucks it up. And then Brown goes right down the middle. Finger roll. Little George Gervin style finger roll. Now it's a 5-point game. So it was once 9. Now it's 5. Deuce. Boom. Bricks the 3. Drew gets it. Brings it down. Look at it. It's just one on 3 right here. Like, swings it around. And Mitch, why were you not out on the wing for Horford? I mean, there were already 3 other Knicks in the paint to take care of Drew. So, boom. Now it's 42-40. They're on a 7-0 run. And then this, a backcourt violation. Hart had not established his position in the front court. And Mikal passed it to him. And so that was a turnover. And then they scored. It was just plays like that, one right after the other, just completely ridiculous, unserious play. And here who's on the court here? We got Mikal, Payne, Deuce, Mitch, and Hart. That lineup was pretty ridiculous. Now, but again, they did finish tied 59-all at the end of this half. So then what went wrong after that? All right, now we get to this. Here we go. Oh. All right. So now it's the third quarter. Score, remember, it was 59-all. The Knicks are now down by 1, 63-62. And look at this play. Just out of bounds, just loses the ball. He falls. That's like the third time Brunson falls in this game. Now we come in here. Towns gets called for his 4th foul right there. And then he didn't leave the game quite right away, but he stayed in the game somehow. And then here we go. Boom. Leaving White wide open. White is the guy that you have to be marked, have him marked the whole time. You can't lose it. And then Hart passes up a 3, and he was shooting 3s really well last night. And then it turns into a turnover. So now we're down 10. Like instantly, in the blink of an eye. Comes driving in, kicks it out to the corner. That was a contested 3. That's tough to put. It's a corner 3. And Pritchard, that guy can shoot. Now it's a 13-point game. And from that point on, things kept getting unraveled. And during this period, Brunson got 5 foul calls against him. Something just would never happen. It's just ridiculous that it even happened. But he picks up 5 fouls in that period. And then he fouled out in the fourth period. So our closer was not available. And by that point, the game had already spiraled out of control. I think this is probably one of the worst rotations that Thibs has done all the entire postseason, should we say. I think he's definitely coached some games well and some games not so well. And his players have overcome it, and then there's been times where his players let him down. Last night was a combination of both. Thibs let the team down, and the players let Thibs down. Will that happen in Game 6? No. because we've got Jalen Brunson. Tommy Beer tweeted this out. Excluding the game he broke his hand in last year versus the Pacers, which was Game 7, in the 11 games following a Knicks postseason loss since Jalen Brunson arrived in New York, Brunson is averaging 34.5 points per game, 8 assists, and 4.7 rebounds in games after a loss. The Knicks are 9-2 in those contests. So, is Brunson, and if you saw the post-game interview, Brunson was asked all these questions, like what went wrong, all this stuff. He was like fuming. He didn't really want to say anything because I know that he wanted to call out a lot of his teammates, call out himself, and the refs, but all of that would have just gotten him into trouble. He probably had private conversations with guys, especially like Cat, because Cat played like a fool. He played like a total fool. He took himself out of the game. He ended up only playing 20-something minutes because of the foul trouble. And then, speaking of foul trouble, he got called for 5 fouls. And they were all pretty much 5 fouls. I mean, 1 or 2 of them maybe don't have to be called. But, when they're already on you, you've got to become a little smarter in how you defend. But let's move on. Then, Tommy followed that up. In the 4 Game 6s Jalen Brunson has played in a Knicks uniform, he is averaging 38.3 points per game. So even 4 more points per game, 6.8 assists, and 3.5 made three-pointers, averaging in Game 6s. Well, tomorrow, Friday, is the biggest Game 6 of Jalen Brunson's Knicks career. We close it out on Friday. We move on. I think they're going to play with the desperation that is needed. They're going to play like a team that, if they lose, they'll go home. Like, they're going to pretend that Game 7 doesn't even exist. They have to act like this is a Game 7. And be prepared that the Boston Celtics are going to try and match you in your effort. But I think as the game wears on, as we've seen throughout this series, the Knicks end up wearing the Celtics down. And remember, they're missing a guy who was averaging almost 40 minutes a game in the playoffs, Jason Tatum, who was their leading scorer, rebounder, and assist guy. Yes, they figured it out for 1 game, and it coincided with terrible play from the Knicks players and some poor coaching and decision-making from Thibs. All of that, I think, was an anomaly. I think it's going to correct itself. And I believe the players have already gotten together to correct it and come out with a tremendous Game 6 performance that I think is going to resemble what they did in Game 4. That is my prediction. And the Knicks will end up winning and advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. I cannot wait. For that. But the games have to be played. Now, let's say, what if the Celtics do manage to pull it off, to replicate what they did in Game 5, they do it in Game 6 at the Garden? Well, if the Knicks can match them with offensively, then the Knicks could still win. But what if the Knicks are cold again? I mean, OG was just completely absent offensively. He couldn't get anything going. And Mikal Bridges as well. I can't believe they both shot like 20-something%. So that is a major concern, but they don't follow up a bad game with another bad game. None of them do. And the Knicks have 4 guys plus Hart, who Hart had a great game, actually, statistically, from an offensive standpoint. And I think his 3-point shot is there right now for him. He just got to keep leaning into it. You saw he passed up that one. He passed up a couple of other ones like that ended up in bad possessions. So he's got to clean that up. Everything's got to be cleaned up, but all of it is easily doable. That's why I'm so confident that the New York Knicks can close this out. But let's say we get a replication of Game 5 in Game 6, and then we have a Game 7 on Monday. Well, the major difference is now it actually will be an elimination game for the Knicks, the first time that they've had one in this entire playoffs. So I think that'll wake them up. I think we'll see a completely different team in Boston. If it goes to Boston, I think we'll see a completely different team. So This is the beauty. The beauty of building a 3-1 lead in a 7-game series. You have the ability to weather some poor shooting and some outstanding play from your opponents in follow-up games, in games 5 and game 6s. Well, I think it's going to be the reverse, though. Mark my words, the New York Knicks are going to take care of business. 24 hours from now, we are going to be celebrating a victory for the New York Knicks. Oh, yes. Let's go. Let's go. I'm not jinxing it. I'm just saying this is how it's feeling. This is how it's feeling. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Share this video if you can. I would appreciate that. Follow me on social media and drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks. Let's see, did I forget anything? Nope. Got it all. Just looking at my notes. Okay. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go. Close it out.